Hello, everybody. I think we are live. This is very exciting. I don't think I can actually see your comments, I'm afraid. Usually they come up, which is really, really handy, but for some reason I can't see them on my screen today, and I'm not going to spend time actually out of the webinar trying to look at technical things. I would rather dive straight in and actually attend to why we are actually here today. So, firstly, thank you all so much for joining me and being here with me today for our collective reading. And today we are focusing on the energy of 3iAtlas. Now, there has been a vast amount of speculation about what 3iAtlas is. And in many ways, I'd like us to put aside what we may have read or heard or been listening to in terms of speculation. I think what I would like us to do, oh, I just saw a lovely little orb float past. That is absolutely fascinating. A beautiful tiny little orb that just floated past my screen. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but if it did, welcome. And, you know, what a wonderful confirmation. I always find when I am working with something that seems to be particularly important or relevant in any given moment, that orbs seem to show up. So it feels like a lovely confirmation for this event today. So, beautiful souls, let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to do. I'm then going to ask you to disconnect, as I've just been saying, from all of the stuff that we may have been reading, hearing about, all the speculation. And I want us to just tune into the purity of the energy of 3iAtlas. And what we're going to do together is to draw cards together. So I'm going to, in a moment, take us into a small meditation where we just bring in the light and we hold our intention for our reading today. As we bring in that light and we hold our intention, I'll then shift the camera to this one up here so that you can see the cards, and I'm going to move us into a reading. I'm going to be drawing cards here, and I'm going to be drawing cards for the collective, and I'm going to be asking questions and just seeing what channels through. And simultaneously, I'm going to be asking you to draw cards to find out how this incoming energy may be affecting you personally, what messages are coming through for you. As a collective, we can hold the light and hold our intent. So pretty exciting. And as I said, before we begin, let's disconnect from everything we've been reading, everything we've heard. And I'd like us just to think about 3iAtlas as a consciousness. Now, every wisdom tradition on our planet understands that we are all connected. I just saw another orb. Understands that we are all connected, all of us, we are interconnected. Every ancient wisdom tradition understands that all life is sacred. Everything is sacred, whether it is a rock, a stone, a bird, an animal, a human being, a tree, a plant. Everything is sacred. Our beautiful earth is a living, breathing, sentient being. Every rock is a sentient being. So something that we consider to be an asteroid or a comet, whatever it is made of in terms of its scientific structure, ultimately, if we look through the strongest microscopes in the world, everything is made of energy, which is something that science has in relatively recent times proven to us and shown us. And this really aligns with the spiritual traditions that tell us we are all interconnected. We're all one. We are all one and the same. Indeed, when we look at quantum science, I think it was Carl Sagan who said, you know, we are all made of star stuff. In many traditions, it's actually also understood that all of life came to Earth on the tail of a comet, which is why we are all related. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into this, but let's just consider for a moment, if we remove all the stuff that we've been hearing about 3iAtlas and we recognize that everything is ultimately energy, resonating at a certain frequency. And those frequencies have an impact on everything else. Just as we know through astrology, which has been studied for thousands of years, that the incoming energy, the connections, the alignments of the different planets has an impact on us here on Earth. So too does the impact of the energy of a comet or a passing, let's call it a sentient being, a passing piece of, an asteroid, whatever we decide to call this, the comet. That energy will be passing through and will be having an impact on us here on Earth. And certainly my own belief, and having studied astrology and looked at the reliable, consistent data of different energies that come in and impact on us here on this planet, it makes complete sense to me that when a comet passes through, we have a transient being passing through, that the energy and the consciousness of that energy, just as the consciousness of the different the planets that we know of that affect us in astrology, a comet and the planetary energy of that, or the energetic frequency and resonance, will be impacting on us too. So, we are today going to be asking through our cards about that energy and the impact of that energy. So, let's just bring ourselves into the light. Let's move into the meditation. Let's just center yourself. If you're able to put your feet on the ground, I'd very much like you to. I've had a very interesting day actually, pretty much all day long, from my early preparations this morning, where I was really leaning into what I would be doing today with you. I found that it really opened channels of information, just connecting in, and particularly interestingly enough, with the stones, with the crystals that I had around me at home when I started my day. And I was actually also directed very clearly to bring a particular stone into our meditation and our reading today. It's sitting just behind me, it's just here. And this is a stone that came from a sacred sweat lodge. It was gifted to me. And a sweat lodge, for anyone who's ever had one, it's a remarkable spiritual space where, certainly for me, I always feel I'm both anchored on the earth, but I can kind of see into the universe as well. So it seemed really fascinating that I was really directed this morning to bring that stone into this space today as we read together. So I'd like you to anchor yourself on the earth. If you can put your feet firmly on the ground, just close your eyes, and I'd like you to, as you are anchored, just consider that you are a connector. Your feet are plugged into the earth, and the light above can channel through you, literally from the universe, potentially from other universes. That's one thing we do know about 3iAtlas, is that it has almost certainly come from a different universe to our own. So, close your eyes and bring in the light. And as you bring in that light, bring it down through your head, down through your neck, all the way down your spine, particularly down your spine, through your chakra points. And I'd like you to take that light right down through your root chakra and anchor it into the earth. And as you bring that light then back up through your body, back up through your spine, I'd like you to take it higher and higher up through your crown chakra and open yourself not only to the light above, but to the stars, to the star nation, to our galaxy, and to galaxies that go beyond. To be a collective container and vessel to receive messages and information that come through from the star nation, from galaxies beyond, but messages that we need to receive right here and right now, as we are anchored on our beautiful planet Earth at a time of profound change and transition. We ask today that in our cards, the messages that we draw come through to us so that we can see and understand what the consciousness of 3iAtlas is bringing to us, and how we can step up and into that consciousness, holding the light and for the highest good for all. We ask to receive messages for the collective, and we ask to receive messages for each of you individually as well. So bring yourselves back into your space, our collective space. And I'm going to shift my camera down. Okay, here we are. And this is a card that I drew a little bit earlier. As I was preparing my space, these are cards that are not widely available. They're actually copies of some cards that are extremely ancient. The original cards belong to my mentor. They are hand painted on hide, and they are thousands of years old. So this is a copy of those cards, and this was the card that I drew in my preparations for our event. It was the buffalo, and I'm actually going to read to you the guidance from the little book that was written about these cards. Buffalo brings the qualities of sacred wisdom, power, strength, and abundance to use in any situation. Self-sacrifice is sometimes needed to put others' needs before your own, sharing our wisdom and our energy as well as our good fortune and material goods with thanks and gratitude for what we have. He brings in power, the power of the north, purity and renewal. So I feel in that message, this card as a starting point for our reading tells us that the energy of 3iAtlas is here to assist us in transformation, and I think to assist us in understanding how we can operate as a collective, to have abundance, but not in a manner that is aligned with greed. You know, we have been living in a state of, I would say, where humanity has been governed by power-orientated systems rather than systems that orientate through love, systems that do not honour the collective, systems that orientate around the benefit going to sort of small numbers of people rather than the whole. You know, we are all related. Everyone is connected. So I'm now going to draw some further cards. Fascinatingly, another thing that actually came through today in my preparations was very strongly to use my mum's tarot cards. For some of you who follow my readings, you'll know my mum passed away earlier this year, and I inherited her tarot cards, very well used, I would say, but very interesting, again, very clearly to bring these tarot cards into the reading. It is as though I think we are supposed to be crossing through boundaries that restrict us, and I think those boundaries are the boundaries of belief that stop us from recognizing that we are interconnected and all of life matters. And I think the interconnection is also to do with previous generations as well as future generations to come. Somehow it is as if the consciousness of 3iAtlas, I think, brings us opportunity actually for abundance. But abundance in this instance is not about individual abundance. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to draw cards yourself. I would be suggesting at the moment that you actually hold your cards. Hold your cards in your hand, and as I'm talking, as I'm tuning into the energy and the messages coming through, hold your cards. If you feel at any time inclined to draw one, or a card shows itself to you, then please draw it. There will be a message there for you. Right now, what I am receiving is, it's like we are learning to both maintain boundaries and yet bridge them, to understand we are all interconnected, to achieve abundance, but not at the expense of others. And by others, I mean all nations, not at the expense of the earth. I'm seeing this card coming through for us. And also this one. Very interesting. They both came out from the base of the pack, as if we are meant perhaps to look at the base, almost like the base of the matter. I'm going to place them beneath the buffalo. We have the cosmic heart, devotion, potency, Make your life a moving prayer. Wow. And then we have, you got the love. Hadarian energy. Codependency boundaries. Okay, how interesting. So I was already tuning in with boundaries. How interesting in this card that we see different figures, different faces, and they're all merging. They're individual faces, and yet they are all merging. Beautiful souls, I'd very much like to invite you to draw a card or cards to make an inquiry about elements of your personal lives where boundaries are, I don't want to just say an issue, that doesn't sound quite right, but where boundaries are relevant to you. Where boundaries are, either you're not holding your boundaries well enough, or indeed you may be holding them too rigidly. You may be pushing people away or rejecting something that could come to you if your boundaries are too rigid. For some of you, your boundaries maybe are being crossed. The key here is love. And the key here is devotion. Your potency is in devotion. It's making your life a moving prayer. It's aligning with universal knowledge. It's understanding that abundance is a vibration. Actually, that's what's coming through here. Abundance is a vibration. And how that then manifests in the 3D world is to do with, it's to do with that. It's to do with your vibration, and it's the vibration of love. Now, I'm conscious that it may seem as though I'm slightly jumping around, but I'm just really allowing myself to tune in with any messages that are coming through. Now, I'm going to use these cards just to ask about how this does manifest on the earthly plane. As I am drawing my cards, either draw your own or hold your own cards. I feel that we are being asked by the consciousness here that's coming in to understand, this is what they're saying actually, to understand that abundance is a consciousness, and every single one of us can have access to that abundance, but it has to be requested, manifested through love, through living a life that is a moving prayer. It's not about abundance that is manipulated through need. It is abundance that is sort of requested. It's like there's a mutual exchange where we recognize and honor a mutuality. It's like an energetic mutuality of both giving and receiving, but through love. Codependency, boundaries, any relationships that, I'm going to use the word, are interdependent. I mean, actually every relationship is interdependent. Healthy interdependency is what's coming through here. It is as though the consciousness of 3iAtlas brings us, I don't know, nuggets of information, light codes that enable us to elevate our consciousness so that we understand in real terms what it means to live through interdependency, a recognition that every single part of everything is interconnected, part of the whole, and necessary. It's as though if any single element is denigrated, put down, dismissed, banished, disregarded, somehow that is what we're being called to address here. This would include, for some of you, if you are disregarding yourself. Hence the request coming through, asking for you to honor and recognize yourself and your own boundaries. If you are being walked over, if your boundaries are not as sharp as they need to be, or not as firm, or you're giving and you wish to be giving through love, but if you're giving perhaps to the wrong people, giving to people who are taking unnecessarily more than they ought to be, people who aren't giving back in a mutuality. Okay, let's just ask about how does this manifest on the earthly plane? Okay, so we have the flute expression. How interesting, because this is about the vibration of sound. How does this manifest on the earthly plane? And then we have offerings, wealth. Aha. I think this is a confirmation. I think these cards are a confirmation of what I've just been tuning in with. Let's just sit with the energy. It is as if you're the expression of yourself. Devotion is your potency, devotion to life, devotion to making your life a moving prayer to the cosmic heart. If the expression of you is one of love, then I think pretty much everything you need will arrive, almost like raindrops coming in here, will arrive. It's like removing fear. I think they're also showing us here. And this does connect to abundance again. I think they're showing us the roots of sort of where things have gone wrong. It's fear of not having enough, or fear that someone else will take something from us. You know, so many wars are generated through it's like perceptions of, you know, if somebody isn't doing it our way, then that's wrong. And there's fear that somebody will take something. And indeed, then, of course, with wars, that is what happens. Somebody comes in and tries to take, and then people need to defend. And there's something here about, I'm going to say, the distribution of wealth, an even equal distribution. Somehow the big shift that is coming in, I think, from3iAtlas is connected, actually, to the way in which we manifest on the earthly plane. It is as if, it's interesting actually, because it is taking me to some of the information that has been identified. And I asked you to disregard and dismiss almost all the information that you will have been told. And in fact, actually, something comes through now that one of the reasons there was such a lot of speculation about 3iAtlas is because it didn't initially behave in the way that a comet would traditionally behave. So, for example, the tail of the comet, which is the dust that's blown from it, was blowing in a different direction. I think usually it blows away from the sun, and it was blowing towards the sun. There was also a suggestion that it had moved in a way that would have, its movement was variable in a way that would suggest it had some capacity to sort of energize itself rather than just be on its own orbit. And I feel that these are in themselves messages. There's a symbolism in this. I actually think they're showing us, and 3iAtlas is demonstrating, that we don't have to, it's almost like we don't have to comply to what is expected. We can still be who we are, but we don't have to comply to the same, almost like behaviours, standards as would be expected. So we can choose to do it differently. We can centre ourselves in love. Now, some of you may have been drawing your own cards as I have been speaking. I would actually like to invite you right now to draw some cards very specifically around something that you are wanting to manifest in the 3D world. And I'm going to draw some cards as well. and ask for guidance about how you manifest. So I'd like you to really look at the cards I draw and also tune into your own cards and see how they are interacting, see how they are operating together. So I'm going to use this tarot pack, very old tarot pack that belonged to my mum. May I kindly tune in and ask for those in our community who are holding the light with us today and now, to ask for guidance about something that they themselves are trying to manifest on this earthly plane. Can we please ask for guidance and advice? Okay, well, look at that. Here we have the Seven of Pentacles, and we see somebody offering a pentacle to somebody. We also have, I'm going to say, the equivalent of a white buffalo. And on the mural behind, we have a bull. I find the symbolism that's coming through here really, really interesting. I think they are actually saying, and I say they, it's interesting, I'm finding myself using that term they. And I need to just pause for a moment and say to you, I do think that the consciousness of 3iAtlas is, I think it's more than one star nation, more than one star constellation. I feel as though, looking at this card, what is coming through for me is that as 3iAtlas has navigated its way through the universe, and indeed through potentially more than one universe, we think a different galaxy to our own, I think it is as though it has absorbed the different consciousnesses of different star nations as it has moved along. It is as if there is a collaborative. Of course, that's what we're being shown here. There is a collaborative consciousness within 3iAtlas. This is not just the consciousness of one star nation. Now, going back to what I was saying a little clumsily, actually, at the very beginning, if we know that when we study astrology, that each of the planets sort of has a, let's call it a personality or an energetic reference point. It's got a particular flavour of energy that comes with it. Likewise, the star constellations that we know as the zodiac signs, they contain a kind of a personality. And we know that from our position on Earth, that incoming energy has an impact on us. And when two planets come together, it's like there's a collaboration of their energies, the essence of the kind of the consciousness that they represent is perhaps a good way of saying it. What I'm being shown here really clearly, it's interesting because I found myself really noticing I'm saying they. 3iAtlas has travelled through, I think, many galaxies, many universes. And as 3iAtlas has travelled, I think different consciousnesses have connected and joined together. They've joined forces. They've merged. They are, in one way, they are one. They have unity. They hold the unity and the higher vibration of love, which in its purity, abundance, is love. But they also hold their individual consciousnesses and their individual knowledges, the knowledge that they bring, they hold the individualness as well. So I think 3iAtlas is mirroring for us how to live in unity consciousness, because in a way 3iAtlas is a unity consciousness, because as 3iAtlas has moved through different galaxies, it's literally as if another consciousness joins and adds another dimension to the depth of awareness, knowledge that comes. But at every stage, It's almost like the many facets of love, I think, that come through here. The cosmic heart. In many ways, 3iAtlas is a cosmic heart. Devotion, potency. Its movement is a moving prayer. And what the consciousness mirrors to us and brings in through the light codes. I'm so struck by this card. Look at the way we see these little drops coming in. I don't know how you are seeing the light codes coming in, but my beautiful souls, I have really noticed, particularly at night, I often think it's in the dark when we really, really see with great clarity. I've noticed at night, even at a new moon, a black moon, a dark moon, it is as though the sky is just lit up. At a full moon sometimes, I've heard people say that it's been so bright, they've gone downstairs to sort of turn the light out because they thought they'd left it on, and it was just the full moon coming in. I've seen that level of light at night around the new moon. Offerings. 3iAtlas is offering us the wealth of true abundance, but abundance that is centered in unity, consciousness, and love. Okay. Coming back down to how you hold your vibration. 3iAtlas is offering us this. Okay, that's part of why 3iAtlas is here. I think the calling, the purpose, its mission for us as it passes through our sort of time and space continuum is to offer us abundance, and maybe to even offer us stepping stones here. Look at the way these align. In native traditions, in Native American traditions, white buffalo calf woman came to earth with a pipe. Gosh, so many pieces are clicking into place. I will fill you in as we go, beautiful souls. She came to earth and she brought a pipe, and the pipe was gifted to the people. She came to bring life, and again to bring unity consciousness, to bring the consciousness of love. The story when she arrived was that two men met her, and one of them, because she was so utterly beautiful, had really, really unpure thoughts about her, and she just said, fine, come along, you know, that's okay. He advanced, and when he came into her consciousness, I believe he just disintegrated and turned into sort of a pile of dust, and the other person went back and told the people of her coming, and they prepared a lodge for her. Very interesting, isn't it, that I was called, the reason I'm connecting lots of dots here is that I was called to bring that stone from the sacred sweat lodge. I was also called to bring my pipe, not to open it. I literally have it sitting here in front of me. This was what came through in my channeling. This is my pipe, wrapped. I was told not necessarily to open it, but to bring it here. This is a sacred pipe. So interesting. I was told to bring that rock from the sweat lodge. I was told to bring my pipe. I was also told to bring my wings, which amounts to a considerable number of bird of prey feathers that have been gifted to me. And when I say gifted, that I literally find when I am out walking on the land. Those were the things I was called to bring. And indeed also my staff, which is my talking stone. My talking stick, rather. So those were the things that I was asked to bring to the space today. And there's a lot of symbolism here connecting to the ancient wisdom of tribal peoples. Okay, so I'm going to continue. My apologies if I seem to be jumping around a lot, but this has been what my day has been like today. Honestly, I just feel like I've been an open channel all day long. Just huge amounts of information coming through in so many different ways. I think 3iAtlas is here, and personally, we can each be gifted something, but I think we have to be each open and available to receive it in that higher vibration of love. That is absolutely what's now coming through. If the expression, and this gift is to help you to be an expression of love, to live your life like a moving prayer, at which point everything you need will come to you. in the 3D world, whatever that may be, that you are attempting, trying to manifest. You may indeed be successfully manifesting. I think something specific will be gifted to us all within the light codes that are coming in. I think we do have free will and conscious choice in terms of how we receive that gift. Now, I asked you to draw cards around something that you were manifesting. I'm going to now draw cards to ask about what is to be gifted to you, and I would like you to draw cards at the same time. Draw cards with me. Just make sure my camera is focusing properly for you. Okay, let's draw cards together. Let us ask what the gift is that you are to receive. I'm going to ask, I'm being shown these two cards. May I ask for information around the gift? Okay, so we have the Five of Swords showing up. We also have the Knight of Cups. Okay. Now, the Knight of Cups actually showed up in reverse. Now, if you follow my readings, you'll know that I very rarely read cards in reverse. But I think what we are being shown here, my beautiful souls, is that you are the first, I think the first gift you will receive is actually the release of something. I think there will be something that you let go of or you overcome. It's almost as though the first offering of 3iAtlas, and some of you may well already be experiencing this, as 3iAtlas is approaching the Earth on that orbit, it reaches the closest point on the 19th of December. I think as 3iAtlas is coming in, just like the tail of the comet going the wrong way, as it were, I think things are being released. I think for most people, I feel that the first gift, I think there are to be several. The first gift of 3iAtlas from that consciousness to us individually and collectively is to let go of something, to be released from something. It may be that we are being released from some emotional element with the cups here. Something is to be cleansed and released within us each. For some of us, it could be an attitude, or it could be the emotional residue of trauma. It could even be inherited trauma. It could be something that has gone back over generations. It could even be just a mindset of lack or an inability to center oneself in love. You know, perhaps every time you get centered in love, something comes along and knocks you off your perch. May we kindly ask for more guidance and more information about this, please. We then have the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, I actually think that we are moving forwards in real terms. So I think the first gift is to release something emotional. I then think there will be some kind of a gift that is in a very practical way coming to you, very much in the 3D world. I think it will be health or wealth, or it could be energy. If you've been struggling with some aspect of your health with the Knight of Pentacles, I think we're going to see something released and something new coming in very, very fast. Well, there we have another card flying out for you. And then we have the Two of Cups. Something is to be given to you in real terms. It's almost like it will prove to you that the vibration of love exists. Now, that might seem a strange thing to say, but I feel that it literally is to prove to you that this is possible, that this ability to hold a unity consciousness with awareness of your own conscious free will and choice. I think something will be arriving in real practical terms that I think it will demonstrate that this is over as well. Whatever is being released for you each personally, and I think you will each know what this is, interestingly enough. There'll be like a nemesis for every single one of us. There'll be some kind of a challenge that we have met, faced, struggled with, whether it's to manifest something or we've simply struggled with something that we've carried through our lives. I think for each and every one of us here on our beautiful planet, I think the collective consciousness, because I do think it is a collective consciousness within itself, of 3iAtlas, is to help us to let go of something, to release something. And we will be given hard evidence of that release. Literally physical hard evidence. The Queen of Cups, wow. I then think, interestingly enough, it's going to blossom and flourish. I think for each of us, the point at which 3iAtlas comes closest to the Earth, and I believe 3iAtlas may well be aligning with Venus at that time, I think that blocks will have been removed, literally down to a cellular level, energetically, that enable us each to then be able to manifest through love. And I think this is what is happening. Now, as you have been drawing your own cards, I would like you to notice within your cards what is being released, what's been holding you back and is being released. So you're very conscious of what you are letting go of. And if you are not sure, then do draw more cards around that. Do draw more cards. What is being what are you being helped with to let go of? And then draw more cards to see what is going to be manifesting in real terms. What's the evidence that you're going to be given that demonstrates to you that you can now live through love? Something is coming to you. I do believe it is something like a nemesis, something that for every single one of us, there will be something that has been a bit of a bugbear, or something that's been difficult, or something that seems to keep returning, or your buttons keep being pressed. I think there will be something going on here. And once we reach this turning point, I think something will be evidenced. My dear ones, I would love you to draw your personal cards to find out what is coming through for you, what is to be evidenced to you, what is to be gifted to you, the next step along the way, to prove to you that this is over and you can now manifest through love. Yeah, you've got the love. This is why 3iAtlas is here. It is literally to awaken love within us, but also to enable us to really know how to use that energy in real terms. But it has to be about interdependency. It has to be about healthy connection. It's that true wealth where we share what we have. We don't see others as being a problem or a threat. We see others as being, I guess, as part of everything. Everything is part of all of life, part of that interconnectedness. I am going to draw more cards to find out some more information. I'm being drawn to use some runes, actually. I have my bag of runes here. I feel that there are very specific steps here. Indeed, 7. Very specific. 7 is coming through very strongly. Step 1 is that something is removed. Step 2 is that there will be real evidence. Step 3 is rising into your own understanding and power, empowerment through love, empowerment through emotion. Gosh, I do think there is something about emotion coming through here as well. The power of emotion. And how emotion, it's not just our mind that orientates our intent and our capacity to manifest. It's our emotions that really drive us, or drive us to act, I guess, badly, or act with love. Emotions are like the fuel in the tank. You know, if your mind is at the steering wheel of the car, your emotions are the driving power behind it. We don't have any, you know, you can't go anywhere, even if you've got an intent to go somewhere. And your mind is very fixed. It won't work unless your emotions are involved. So I feel there is also an emotional upgrade coming. And I think that's kind of step 3. I do feel there are almost like 7. There's a process of 7 steps. I also get the impression that they may happen quite quickly. But I'll ask about that in a moment. Let me ask about the next steps, please. I have 2 runes coming through. Okay, we have Othilla. And we have Swallow. Okay. We then have 2 more. We have Nathus. And we have, this is the Rune of Strength, Uruz. Okay. How interesting. Swallow is the rune of letting go. It's the rune of separation. And, sorry, not Swallow, Othilla. Swallow is the rune of the path we must follow. It's the path to wholeness. We have the rune of constraint followed by the rune of strength, which suggests, I think we are being shown here. I was sort of feeling like things might happen quite quickly. Actually, that what we're being shown here is that there is a process to go through. It's almost as though this is the initiatory period. This is what happens. I think then, as we let go of these old ways, old attitudes, we follow the path that we are guided to follow, which is one of unity consciousness. It's one of interdependency, of living your life like a moving prayer. I think there will be some constraints. I think there will be some situations where we need to find endurance, where we need to find perseverance, where we need to connect together to hold that light. Very interesting. Nathus also asks us to cross the T's and dot the I's. Pay attention to the detail. I think part of the evolutionary process, once we have been gifted the cleansing, and then in real terms that's been demonstrated to us that something is complete and over, I think there will be a process to go through, which is several steps, I suspect, where I think you will need to pay attention to the detail. You will need to attend to details. It's almost as though it's like if you're completing one contract, you need to sort of complete it properly before you can move on. I think there will be some quite practical things that you have to attend to as we navigate this shift in real terms and hold that light. There'll be important details to attend to. It may be that we begin to recognise those elements of our own lives that are no longer in resonance with the higher consciousness. Beautiful souls, may I please suggest that you draw some cards now around the rune of Nathus. I'd like you to draw cards for yourself personally, to ask about, what are the T's, what are the I's that you're going to need to pay attention to? What are the details? Because this is enabling you to continue. It's enabling you to move forwards, and also for your pathway to build in strength, to gather in strength. I'd like you very much to draw cards. I'm going to draw some as well. May we kindly ask if there is any additional guidance, please, around the crossing of the T's and the dotting of the I's. I have 2. We have the Ace of Cups. Oh my goodness me. Look at this. And we have the Fool. And we have the Moon. Wow, wow. Okay. I have a very strong message coming through here. I think part of the testing of this will almost be the testing of our own loyalties here. We have Cerberus, the 3-headed dog. Our own loyalties around... It's like holding true to the values of love. Being prepared to take a risk and stand up for what we believe in. Walking that pathway, walking the good red road, doing it. Actually living, breathing, sort of eating, living, breathing it. Okay. Whatever that is for you, I think there will be, I almost want to say a little bit of testing, but I don't feel it's, I'm not getting a message of massive testing, more, not with the Ace of Cups and the Fool, more a sort of a, it's like having the confidence to go through with it, to follow through. May I kindly ask if I'm right about that? May I kindly ask? Yes, the Empress, having the confidence to nurture this through, to see this through. Now, this is a card of abundance. It's also a card of pregnancy. Having the confidence to see it through, to trust that the steps will fall into place. I think they are saying very clearly that there will be things you need to attend to in order to align with the new resonance and frequency of abundance coming to you. But it's abundance, it's the abundance that comes with love. It's living in love. I'm also going to say I'm being guided emotionally. I think there's something very key coming through here to do with emotions. May I kindly ask if that is correct? May I kindly ask if that is correct? We have the Queen of Swords and the Six of Cups. How interesting. Interesting, because the Queen of Swords, of course, look, the Six of Cups looks back. It's about, in many ways, it's nostalgia. It's letting go, looking back and letting go of things that have held us collectively in a sort of a state of mind where, the Queen of Swords is sometimes known as the Ice Queen, where we're governed too much by our mind rather than our heart. So there will be areas of your world individually. I trust that the cards you are drawing around this will be helping you, bringing you the guidance you need in order to know where those constraints, what are the T's, what are the I's that you need to cross. I'm going to draw 2 more runes here. May we ask what comes next? We have wonderful breakthrough. Oh, right, I just nearly dropped my runes. I do apologise. We have the rune of breakthrough. Wow, the breakthrough moment will come. And Rado is the rune of journey. Magnificent. I'm like hearing, then you're on your way. The breakthrough moment will come. There will be I think there will be a major spark of liberation in some way, shape or form. It's like it's going to fall into place. Things will fall into place. There will be a process, I think, where things have to be ironed out. Things have to be attended to. I do feel they are assuring us, and we are seeing a lot of chaos in the world, but they are assuring us that the energy they bring in is here to assist us, to help to remove things that are in the way, and to gift us with real hard evidence that love works, that love is present, that love can be the ruler of where we move forwards. There will be opportunity, I think, to look back and to make very clear-cut decisions and choices as well along the way. So there may be situations that feel where you are presented with a choice. Now, if this is resonating with you, I would invite you to also draw some more cards for yourself around what kind of choices you may be faced with as you move forwards into this space where you manifest and you receive through love. And beautiful souls, I absolutely trust that you will be guided and gifted with whatever you need to see. Now, dear ones, let's now ask. I feel this could be quite intense energy in its own way, actually, with Nathus and the Rune of Strength. But I do feel the breakthrough will come. May we kindly ask for the collective about any kind of timing around the breakthrough, please? The Ace of Swords. That's an interesting card. So this is a very clear, decisive beginning. It may also be at a point of conflict. Sometimes the Ace of Swords can indicate a point of conflict. I wonder if the breakthrough comes at a point of conflict. We then have the Two of Pentacles. We see somebody who, I think actually we are being shown here that the breakthrough, there will be a breakthrough at a point of conflict. Now, whether this is collectively or whether this is on a more global scale. Now, we clearly are seeing a lot of conflict in the world. This does suggest there will be opportunity to work with this, to do something. May we kindly ask, will there be opportunity to work with this? Will the energy of 3iAtlas, the consciousness of 3iAtlas, that unity consciousness, will we ourselves be able to initiate changes in a way that are beneficial? Yes, we have the Four of Pentacles. And we have the Nine of Pentacles. How wonderful. How interesting that we have the Pentacles showing up, the cards of the earthly plane. The Four is interesting because this is where, in a way, the pupil can do better than the teacher. It's like the pupil can, it's like the younger consciousness, the next generation sometimes can come through and do more than the previous generation. It's a bit like, I always think this when I watch the Olympics and I watch these incredible athletes. And just when you think there's a world record and no one could do any better, somebody comes along and does even more. And you think, how did that even happen? It's so extraordinary. And I feel that there will be a point in time, and I do think it will be at a time of conflict, when in real terms, energy, resources, in absolute real, almost again that hard evidence, in real terms, something will be gifted to us that enables us to move something forwards, to grow out of, to be more than what has come before. And my goodness me, the success, the result, the Nine of Pentacles in real terms is magnificent. Now, if this is coming through in my reading for the collective, I'd very much like you, dear ones, to draw cards for yourselves, to ask what comes through for you at a point. Is that breakthrough? So they're saying that the breakthrough moment may come at a time when you're experiencing friction, or you're experiencing, the challenge of taking a leap, launching yourself into the new, seeing what's coming next, not knowing what's coming next. There's something here about, I almost feel all of us emotionally will have a moment where we kind of almost sort of slightly question who we are, where we're going, what's going on. And I think that point in the journey is the turning point. It's almost as if we have to, it's like we move through that, it's almost like a glass ceiling, and we move through that glass ceiling, we move through it and we move beyond it. So it's this point of conflict. I hope that your cards will be showing you in a more personal way what that point of conflict might be, or that point of decision, or that point of difficulty where I think it's where you make a personal choice in some way. And it's almost as though the moment you make that personal choice, it's as if the resources, the energy come to you in order to outgrow what has been previously known or understood. It's like you can surpass something or overcome something. And this will either be with yourself or of previous generations, a bit like the athlete example that I just gave you. I have a very distinct, it's very interesting, I'm getting a very distinct feeling of almost, I feel like I'm seeing 3iAtlas sort of moving off into the distance, as it were. So I think it's almost like a curve I'm being shown, where we've kind of, as 3iAtlas is coming in, things are being dissolved within us. The point at which 3iAtlas comes very close to the Earth, and the Moon, of course, is our satellite. She is closest of all the planets that we look at. The Moon is closest to us. It's almost when 3iAtlas reaches the point where we are closest, that's that sort of turning point. And then I think real evidence comes in, and maybe we are presented with some sort of choice. I suspect around the time of the 19th of December, I'm going to ask for more evidence around that, more cards and confirmation, but I think around the time of the point when 3iAtlas is closest to us, I think that's the point when, yes, something, of course, I am being shown already, something is illuminated. So I think that's the point when something has been removed. We're already in this process, and I think hard evidence comes in that shows us we can choose to live differently. Then there's a process of nurturing as 3iAtlas sort of moves on, presumably to gather additional consciousnesses and deliver the same unity conscious message, potentially to other planets, to other universes, to other galaxies. It's almost as though that work will then be done. May I kindly ask if there is anything else for us to be shown? Okay, we have the Seven of Wands. We have the Nine of Wands. Now we are getting into some interesting cards. Anything else that they need us to see? We then have the Nine of Cups. Okay. Dear ones, there's a very clear message here in terms of, these are very different energies showing through here. I do think they're reinforcing this point of conflict. The Seven of Wands is a card where it's a card that's often rooted in envy. It's a card that can demonstrate people holding very different perspectives. I think what they're saying is, in terms of unity consciousness, the Nine of Cups is a heavenly card, that this is the final hurdle that we have to sort of overcome. This is the gap we have to bridge, which is about it's about not living through division. I think it literally is the final hurdle. It's the thing that we have to collectively overcome, and I suspect individually this will show up in some way. There'll be some kind of a conflict potentially coming into our world, whether it is our own, going right back to the beginning of the reading, whether it's to do with our own boundaries, where we are allowing people to step over our boundaries inappropriately, or whether it is, we are too affected by others. We allow the energy of others to affect us negatively. I think the very clear message here is to really hold your light, even in the face of conflict. It's almost as though this is the final hurdle in order to then shine in light and love. Okay, I am going to draw 2 more cards to see what else we are shown. Okay, we have the 9 of Swords, more 9s coming up. How interesting. And then the 8 of Cups. Fascinating, because the 8 of Cups is a card where we choose. This is mind-blowing. Okay, look at the Furies. It's like not allowing your head to rule. I think they're really showing us the core problems that we as a humanity are facing. It's where we allow our energy to be affected by others. It's the final hurdle. We need to be in love. But actually, so often we worry, we overthink, we constantly feel that we need to know where we're going, when actually we just need to be able to trust and allow. The 8 of Cups is very interesting because this is Persephone who descends to meet her husband. But it is interesting because she does choose to go. Of course, this is coming through again. I think I said right at the start of this reading, funny how the dots join up, that the light codes that come through, what I was saying right at the start is I have really noticed that at the time of the new moon, the sky at night is as bright as when we have a full moon. It's extraordinary. It's mind-blowing. And, of course, she is descending into the underworld, the darkness. And I said, it's in the darkness that we find the greatest light. It's where we see. I think there will be areas for us each where we are shown. It's almost like, I think there's the need to sort of spring clean, to hold your own, to hold the light. I think this is the area of testing for us, it is to really hold the light, to hold the love. I'm going to bring in a different pack of cards. Now, I'd like you to each right now, thinking of the final, because this is a final challenge. It's like the last one. It's almost as though there will be like a final testing. May I kindly ask you each to draw some cards around what this may be for you. There's definitely something around the breakthrough point comes, I think, at a time when we do see conflict. To be fair, we are currently seeing conflict in the world. Massive conflict, massive division. I think with the 7 we are being asked to not to not be somehow drawn into it, to not be sort of trapped in our mind, to be trapped by fear, to really walk into the new with absolute trust and with absolute love. I'm going to use a different pack of cards, and I'm going to ask how we move forwards, or can we see a little bit, a sneaky peek in terms of the consciousness of 3iAtlas? I think it's showing us that the consciousness is shaking up the world, actually. I think because we are so far removed. That's, I think, what we're being shown. We're so far removed as a collective from this higher vibration of love. In many ways, we've been shown so much joy in the first part of our reading, and yet here we have almost this sort of the essence of what's gone wrong in the collective. May we kindly ask, and I would ask you to draw cards as well for yourself personally, in holding the light and holding the love. How does this, what is the shape of the future to come? We have the Hunter of Conflict. Wow, I know what this is about. We have the Spirit of Destruction. I think our world is radically changing. We have Shaman of Birth. Wow. Yes, absolutely. What they're saying here. Yes. And then Ancestor of Boundaries. Right. I think we are to see one more, potentially, yes. And Dancer of Life. Beautiful. Okay, what they are showing us here is exactly the process that we've just been talking about. I think it is through the conflict, that the old will be effectively destroyed. This is what the spirit of destruction is about. It's about letting go of the old. Then comes the rebirth. And as we rebirth, the dancer of life is magic, but as we rebirth, we understand boundaries as in a different way. You know, at the moment there is so much conflict around boundaries. And I think that's what they are also asking us to understand. Coming back to the very first part of our reading, you've got the love, codependency, boundaries. I think 3iAtlas, the energy and the essence, is helping us to redefine what boundaries actually mean. And this will be in our personal lives as well as a collective. It is essential that we have boundaries. Otherwise, we can't own our own unique capacity for free will and conscious choice. On the other hand, if our boundaries are so defended, then we lose compassion. If we start to live in isolation. I think the boundaries of our world are going to radically change, actually. And this will be both individually, personally, as well as on a global scale. Ultimately, what we manifest individually is then represented globally as well. I do think, well, we are, let's face it, we are already in the heart of conflict. And so I guess perhaps the timing really in many ways is now. But it's through the conflict that the old will be ultimately discarded. We can rebirth. And we arrive, dancer of life, in a space of so much possibility, holding that collective, which was shown right at the start in this card, where we all understand ourselves as unique individuals, but we also recognize that we are interconnected. And I think this is what the consciousness of 3iAtlas is ultimately bringing for us. But my goodness me, what a representation of what we are currently seeing. Now, beautiful souls, I feel it is time for us to consider bringing this reading to a close. I hope in drawing these cards and in you drawing your cards for yourselves that you have been able to receive guidance around what you are letting go of, what is going to be arriving, the recognition of something in real terms that is going to prove to you that you have the capacity to live your life as a living prayer so that you can embody the light codes that are coming in and re-establish within your own world your capacity to hold boundaries and yet also recognize that boundaries need to not be, they're not about keeping people out. It's having healthy boundaries where we recognize the interconnectedness with other people and with all of life. I'm actually going to finish, my beautiful souls. I will check my phone in a moment to see if the lovely Kate, who is moderating, has sent any messages through to me. But I am going to just reread to you the information that came with this first card, because I feel it is really, really relevant. Let me bring these out. So, Buffalo. Buffalo brings the qualities of sacred wisdom, power and strength and abundance to use in any situation. Self-sacrifice is sometimes needed. So this is about our recognition of others. Self-sacrifice is sometimes needed to put others' needs before your own, sharing our wisdom and energy as well as our good fortune and material goods with thanks and praise for what we have. He brings in the power of the north, purity and renewal. I think this is a very, very powerful consciousness that is enabling ultimately humanity to come together in a way that honours and recognises the needs of all. without the expense. It's not one at the expense of another. This will impact on our personal lives as to how we lead our lives in an individual way. Beautiful souls, I hope these cards have, aside from showing you what's being let go of as a gift, what is coming in as a gift, I hope these cards and this reading are also showing you that even if we are, as a collective, experiencing profound conflict, there will be a breakthrough moment and a point of rebirth. There will be a re-establishing of, I'm going to say, different values. Ultimately, our boundaries are, they are an embodiment of our values. You know, for example, respect. Respect is a boundary. It's an invisible boundary. If someone treats you with respect, it's tangible. You can feel it. It's like something that sits in the space between us. The space between us is where our boundaries exist. I think there will be a whole re-establishment of boundaries. And these are boundaries that are established through the power of love, actually. I think we are going to realign, and I think 3iAtlas is here to enable us and assist us in doing that, because I think 3iAtlas does embody exactly this. I think it has navigated through the universe, through many galaxies, and acquired the different consciousnesses from different star nations in order to mirror and demonstrate through the very essence of the information that we receive what it means to be part of a collective, but a collective that works together with recognition of the uniqueness of every single being, every single consciousness. I think it's why I was asked to bring so many things with me today. The rock from the sweat lodge, you know, my staff, my talking stick, my feathers, my pipe, all of these things are being requested to come in, all of these different energies, and all of them actually collectively, they are unique objects, we would see them as. You know, if we recognize every object is a consciousness, every object is energy and resonating at a certain frequency and has a consciousness. All of these things come in, all of these things work with me. They work collectively. They're different, they're unique, they hold a different place in my world, but all of them ultimately work collectively and for the higher good. Dear ones, I think it is time to wind down and conclude our reading for today. And I trust that your cards have shown you what you have needed for yourselves. Beautiful souls, I wish you well. Tons and tons of love.